Have you ever wondered why you feel tired even after a full night's sleep? Why your joints ache, your memory fades, or your energy vanishes halfway through the day? It's easy to blame age. But what if I told you the real reason might be something else entirely? Today we uncover the 3 essential vitamins that most men over 55 are dangerously low on. Vitamins that could be the hidden key to restoring your energy, strength, and confidence. This is not just about health. This is about reclaiming your life. Stay with me. The truth may surprise you. Welcome to Prolong Your Life, the channel dedicated to helping men over 55 feel strong, vibrant, and full of purpose. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you find this video helpful, please like and share it with someone who needs it. Today we're diving deep into 3 powerful nutrients that your body may be silently crying out for. These nutrients are often overlooked, but they play a crucial role in your mood, energy, strength, and even how well you sleep at night. We'll go beyond the facts. I'll share real stories of men just like you, men who thought they were getting old, but were actually running low on fuel. Here are some sobering statistics. Over 40% of adults over 50 are estimated to have a deficiency in one of these key nutrients, according to the National Institutes of Health. This number is even higher among people who live in northern latitudes, spend a lot of time indoors, or have darker skin tones. In fact, one study published in the Archives of Internal Medicine found that 77% of Americans were deficient in this single nutrient alone, and the rate was significantly higher among older adults. Another nutrient that fuels the brain and nervous system becomes harder to absorb with age. Studies show that about 1 in 6 people over the age of 60 are deficient in it, leading to symptoms like memory loss, fatigue, and even confusion, often mistaken for early signs of dementia. This problem is worsened by common medications many older adults take, which interfere with nutrient absorption. And while the third nutrient may not be one you think about often, over 90% of Americans don't meet the recommended intake from food sources. It plays a vital role in protecting your cells from aging and supporting circulation, immune function, and reproductive health. When it's missing, even at marginal levels, it can lead to fatigue, inflammation, and poor recovery. The risk of being deficient in any or all of these nutrients increases if you're taking certain medications, live in a colder climate, suffer from digestive conditions, or don't have a well-rounded diet. These aren't just statistics, they're red flags. Signs your body may already be running on empty. So let's dive into each one by one. I won't just tell you what they are, I'll show you how they impact real lives. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear action plan to restore your strength, vitality, and drive. Vitamin D isn't just for bones. It regulates testosterone, supports your immune system, strengthens muscles, and boosts your mood. Yet most men over 55 don't get enough. Story 1. Frank, 66, the banker who couldn't climb the stairs. Frank was a respected retired banker who lived in a peaceful suburban neighborhood. His days used to be full of activity. He loved tending to his flower garden, playing fetch with his Labrador, and taking long weekend trips to the countryside with his wife. But over time, things began to change. He noticed that his energy was dipping. Tasks that once felt effortless, like climbing stairs or carrying groceries, became challenging. One morning, Frank sat at the bottom of the staircase, staring up at what now felt like a mountain. He sighed and wondered if this was just what aging looked like. His wife, concerned about his growing fatigue and frequent complaints of knee and back pain, convinced him to see a doctor. Blood tests revealed that Frank had severely low vitamin D levels. His bones were weakening, and his muscles were deteriorating. His doctor prescribed a regimen of daily sunlight exposure, a vitamin D supplement, and a diet rich in fatty fish, mushrooms, and fortified cereals. Within weeks, Frank noticed subtle changes. Climbing stairs became easier, his back pain lessened, and he felt more alert in the mornings. After 3 months, Frank was back in his garden, mowing the lawn and planting tomatoes. He said, "I thought it was just old age catching up with me. I never imagined it was something so simple as sunlight." Leonard had spent his entire life in Florida surrounded by sun and surf. But when he retired and moved to a colder, cloudier city to be closer to his grandchildren, everything began to change. The man who used to crack jokes at family dinners became quiet and withdrawn. He began sleeping excessively, avoiding social gatherings, and losing interest in his favorite books and woodworking projects. His wife noticed the change. He was present, but it was like he wasn't really there, she recalled. Concerned about his emotional well-being, they visited a psychiatrist who recommended antidepressants. But Leonard's daughter, a nurse, pushed for more comprehensive blood work. The results came back with a shocking finding. Leonard's vitamin D was nearly non-existent. He began light therapy treatments in the winter, resumed walks outdoors even when it was cloudy, and incorporated salmon, dairy, and egg yolks into his meals. Slowly, the light returned, not just to Leonard's environment, but to his personality. He began laughing again, spending time with his grandchildren, and rebuilding birdhouses in his garage. It wasn't depression, he later said. It was deficiency, and no one saw it coming. Samuel was a proud grandfather and former construction worker, known in his community for his strength and reliability. But as he approached his 70s, he began experiencing frequent falls and stumbles. Once he tripped while walking his granddaughter to the school bus and fractured his wrist. Worried that he might be developing balance issues or worse, Samuel underwent several tests. While his vision and inner ear function were normal, his doctor decided to run a nutritional panel. The results showed a severe deficiency in vitamin D and calcium. His bones had lost density, and his muscles lacked coordination. He was placed on a vitamin D and calcium regimen, encouraged to spend more time in the sun, and referred to a physical therapist. Over the next 4 months, Samuel's balance improved, his bones strengthened, and most importantly, his confidence returned. He was no longer afraid to walk the neighborhood or attend his weekly veterans meeting. "I didn't need a cane," he joked. "I needed the sun, vitamin B12, the energy you've lost. Vitamin B12 fuels your red blood cells, brain function, and nervous system. But after 50, your body absorbs it poorly." Richard was a retired journalist who spent most of his life chasing stories and writing columns that inspired thousands. But in recent years, he noticed something frightening. He would sit at his desk, staring at the screen, unable to find the words. His memory failed him during conversations. He'd forget birthdays, phone numbers, and even how to start his car. Convinced it was early-onset Alzheimer's, Richard and his wife visited multiple specialists. But one curious internist decided to check his nutrient levels. The results came back: severe vitamin B12 deficiency. Richard had unknowingly starved his brain of a critical nutrient. With a combination of high-dose B12 injections, sublingual supplements, and a diet filled with eggs, tuna, and fortified grains, Richard began to recover. Within weeks, his mind felt sharper, his focus returned, and he even completed a short story he had abandoned years ago. "I thought I was losing my mind," he said. "Turns out my mind just needed fuel." Walter was a former gym coach, renowned for his physical fitness. He taught spin classes until his late 60s. But suddenly, he started experiencing numbness in his feet. He stumbled while walking, and eventually couldn't stand for long. Friends suggested it was just aging, but Walter knew something wasn't right. After visiting a neurologist and running several tests, the cause was revealed: a critical vitamin B12 deficiency. Years of taking antacids for acid reflux had inhibited B12 absorption. Walter began a strict treatment plan that included weekly B12 injections, dietary changes, and physiotherapy. The turnaround was astounding. Within months, he regained mobility and even returned to teaching a light aerobics class at his local community center. "I wasn't old. I was depleted, he shared, and I got my legs back. Ian, a retired engineer, had a sharp mind and a love for chess. But lately, he was always tired. No matter how early he went to bed or how long he slept, he woke up exhausted. His doctors initially blamed it on aging, suggesting more rest and hydration. But Ian knew this was different. A blood test revealed his B12 levels were alarmingly low. His long-term vegetarian diet and age had caught up with him. He began supplementing and introduced fortified plant-based milks and cereals into his diet. The results were almost immediate. His energy returned, his mood lifted, and he started beating his chess buddies again. "I feel like myself again," he said, "for the first time in years." Vitamin E, the guardian of masculinity. Vitamin E is an antioxidant that improves circulation, supports fertility, and protects cells from aging. Story 1. Charles, 65, and the Lost Flame. Charles had been happily married for over 35 years, but recently he noticed a change. He had less energy, less drive, and his romantic relationship with his wife began to suffer. Embarrassed, he didn't talk about it until his doctor suggested testing his hormone levels. Surprisingly, his testosterone was fine, but his vitamin E was low. With a simple dietary adjustment involving nuts, seeds, and olive oil, combined with moderate exercise, Charles began to feel like himself again. His wife noticed it first. "Your eyes look alive again," she said. Charles smiled and replied, "It's amazing what almonds can do." John suffered from chronic muscle cramps and restlessness. He couldn't sleep more than a few hours at a time and woke up feeling stiff. A visit to a naturopath revealed that oxidative stress and low vitamin E levels were contributing to his problems. After adjusting his diet and adding a vitamin E-rich supplement, John began to sleep better. He was more relaxed and felt less anxious. "I was in constant tension," he said. "Now I feel calm and steady." Thomas, an avid reader, noticed his vision become the power of combining them. Now imagine this, all three vitamins working together. Vitamin D builds your bones and hormones. B12 charges your energy. Vitamin E protects your cells and blood flow. George had given up. Weak, depressed, and constantly sick, he thought life was winding down. Then a holistic doctor tested his vitamins. All three were low. With a combined protocol of sunlight, fortified foods, and strategic supplements, George slowly came back to life. "I didn't know I could feel this good at 74, he said. Alan said he felt invisible. No energy, no drive, no spark. Deficiencies in D, B12, and E were the root cause. 3 months into recovery, his wife said, "I have my husband back." Martin was advised to check his vitamin levels after experiencing persistent fatigue and brain fog. He laughed it off. "I've lived this long without worrying about vitamins," he said. But the symptoms worsened. 6 months later, he suffered a fall that fractured his hip, and recovery was slow. Blood work post-injury showed severe deficiencies in all three vitamins. Sadly, what could have been prevented with simple changes now requires constant medical care. Dennis read about vitamins online, but didn't feel urgent about it. "I'm not into all this health stuff," he told a friend. Over time, he developed memory issues, chronic fatigue, and low libido. By the time he took action, it took nearly a year to rebuild his levels and recover some function. "I regret not listening earlier," he said. "I lost a year of my life just being tired." Supplements versus food. Supplements help, but food must come first. The synergy of nutrients in whole food supports absorption and long-term health. Vitamin D. Foods, salmon, sardines, egg yolks. Fortified dairy, vitamin B12. Foods, eggs, beef tuna. Fortified cereals, vitamin E foods. Almonds, olive oil. Spinach, avocados. Always test before supplementing. Work with a professional. Neil believed more was better. He began taking high-dose supplements without checking his blood levels. Soon, he developed side effects: insomnia, digestive issues, and muscle cramps. A specialist later discovered that he was overdosing on vitamin D and needed to rebalance with a food-first approach. Supplements help, he admitted, but they're not a replacement for real food. Calvin relied only on supplements and rarely changed his diet. He refused vegetables and healthy fats. Over time, his absorption of vitamins decreased. Even though he was popping pills, his levels were still low. Doctors had to guide him through a complete diet overhaul. It wasn't just about taking something, he later shared. It was about living differently. You don't have to accept fatigue, weakness, or fading memory as your fate. Often, it's not age, it's deficiency. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend, brother, or father over 55. Let's build a community of strong, wise, vibrant men. Subscribe to prolong your life. Your best years are not behind you. They're just getting started.